Welcome back, everyone. Grab your popcorn because today's story is packed with shocking twists, emotional moments, and secrets that change everything. Let's jump right in. Oh man, let me tell you, I was glued to the screen the other day watching all that chaos unfold on General Hospital. Liesl came storming in like a real tornado, all fired up and looking for her daughter, Britt. I mean, that woman doesn't mess around when family's involved. She marched straight over to Willow's place, demanding answers, and poor Nina was caught right in the middle with nothing good to say. You could see the fire in Liesl's eyes. She wasn't buying any of their stories. While she was tearing around Port Charles hunting for clues about Britt, she accidentally stumbled onto some secrets that Willow and Nina were trying real hard to keep buried. I gotta say, it made me chuckle a bit because those two thought they had everything under control, but Liesl's like one of those old school folks who can smell trouble a mile away. But here's where it got real dark and twisted. Before she could even find Britt, Liesl herself got snatched up. Turns out this fella Cullum had big plans for her, something connected to a shady project that Britt hadn't finished. Can you imagine? The poor woman's already worried sick about Britt's Huntingtons, and now she's the one in trouble. What really hit me hard was when her son Cassius finally came clean. Turns out he's not Nathan at all, but his twin brother. Both her kids got mixed up in some pretty dark stuff. It broke my heart thinking about a mother finding out something like that. I bet Liesl wanted to cry her eyes out, but that tough old bird didn't let it break her. She kept her wits about her, made some smart moves, and before you know it, Cullum had no choice but to let her go. He wasn't about to risk whatever clever plan she had cooking. I tell you, folks, Liesl threw one heck of a fit, and Cullum tried handling it all on his own like some big shot. But actions like that, they always come with heavy consequences down the road. You just know the whole town of Port Charles is going to feel the aftershocks. Still, watching Liesl stand her ground and warn Nina about her own daughter being a real snake in the grass, it was something else. She even had strong words about Willow and Chase, saying if the girl wants him, she'll get him. That's the kind of no-nonsense spirit I respect. It reminds me of those strong Southern mamas back in the day who'd move heaven and earth for their kids but wouldn't take any nonsense either. Man, General Hospital sure knows how to stir the pot and keep an old guy like me coming back for more. My heart's still racing just thinking about what's coming next for all of them. Cullum had clearly had enough. That fellow was at the end of his rope. Ever since Britt ran off with little Rocco, he'd been stewing and stewing, determined as all get out to find someone to step in and finish Faison's final project. You could just see the frustration building up in him like a pressure cooker ready to blow. While Sidwell was over there laser focused on figuring out who killed Marco, Cullum, and the rest of them, finally sat down and agreed this project couldn't wait any longer. It had to get done, and soon. So Cullum, being the type who doesn't like sitting idle, decided to take matters into his own hands. And let me tell you, what he came up with next was something else. If he couldn't grab Britt herself, then the next best option was her mother, Liesl. I mean, talk about cold-blooded thinking. Picture this. Liesl had just been running all over Port Charles, digging through Britt's office for any little clue about where her daughter might be. She was worn out, worried sick about Britt's Huntington's disease, and probably thinking she'd finally head home. She gets in her car, and bam, there's Cullum, hiding right there in the back seat like some bad dream. Before she could even turn around or shout for help, he had something clapped over her mouth. My heart was pounding just watching it. It gave me chills, I'll be honest. But that Liesl, boy, she's one strong, clever woman. She didn't panic and fall apart. Instead, she used her head and played sick real good, faking it so convincingly that it pushed her son Cassius to turn his back on the whole organization just to come rescue his mama. When Cullum realized she'd slipped through his fingers and that Cassius had betrayed them, he flat out lost his mind. I've never seen a man look so furious and unhinged. He was raging, pacing around like a wild animal. You know, watching all this unfold really tugs at your heartstrings. Here's Liesl, already carrying the heavy burden of wondering about her daughter's health and discovering those dark family secrets, like Cassius not being Nathan, but his twin brother, and both her kids tangled up in all that shady business. And now this, being snatched right out of her car, it makes a person stop and think about how far some folks will go when they're desperate. A mother's love is powerful, but so is the kind of evil that hides in the shadows of poor Charles. I gotta say, Cullum stepping in like some lone wolf fixer might have seemed smart to him at the time, but I've lived long enough to know actions like that don't just disappear. They leave behind big consequences that'll ripple through the whole town. Liesl throwing that fit of hers earlier, storming into Willow's place, and warning Nina about her own daughter being like a snake in the grass, it all adds up to one big storm brewing. Still, I respect how Liesl kept her wits about her and outsmarted him. It reminds me of those tough old-timers back home who'd say, "You mess with the bull, you get the horns." She stood her ground even when everything looked hopeless. Man, General Hospital sure knows how to mix family love, betrayal, and edge-of-your-seat danger all together. My wife and I are already wondering what's going to happen next because something tells me this fire Cullum started is far from over. It's going to keep burning and affecting everyone in ways we haven't even seen yet. What a wild ride, folks. I can't tear myself away. Oh man, let me tell you, the more I watch General Hospital these days, the more my head spins with all the twists and turns. What really got me thinking the other day is how Liesl's fiery behavior, as crazy as it seemed, actually played right into Cullum's hands. Isn't life funny that way? Sometimes the very thing you do out of love ends up helping the people you'd least want to help. After she stormed into Willow's house like a whirlwind, demanding answers about Britt and exposing their secrets, Liesl basically handed Cullum the perfect excuse on a silver platter. Now that she's vanished, Willow and Nina are likely sitting there convincing themselves that Liesl finally got some solid information about her daughter and took off running. They probably think, well, she was so worked up, she must have found a lead and gone after Britt herself. Her big confrontation gave them every reason not to go looking for her too hard. It breaks my heart when I stop and think about it. Liesl's already carrying such a heavy load, worrying herself sick over Britt's Huntington's disease, discovering those awful truths about her boys, and realizing both her children got pulled into those dark projects. And now she's in real danger, probably held somewhere against her will. I kept shaking my head while watching, wondering how much more one mother can take. Then there's Cassius. He might be the only one who eventually notices she's truly missing. After all, he's still pretending to be Nathan, walking around in that role. When he finally figures out his mother has been dragged into this mess, it could turn Cullum and Sidwell's whole operation upside down. But here's the part that really makes me wonder. Does he care enough about Liesl to actually do something about it? After everything that's come out, him not being Nathan but the twin brother, both sons tangled up in the same shady business, it's hard to say where his loyalty really lies. A mother's love is one thing, but when your own kids have chosen such a dark path, it leaves you questioning everything. One thing's for sure, though. Liesl is in the most dangerous spot she's ever been in, and the walls are slowly closing in on Cullum and Sidwell. They might think they're smart, handling things their own way, but every move they make now just adds more pressure. The secrets are piling up, the lies are getting harder to keep straight, and poor Charles has a way of making sure nobody stays hidden forever. I tell you, watching all this unfold feels like peeking into real family struggles, even if they're wrapped up in drama and danger. It reminds me of those old Southern sayings my grandpa used to share. Be careful what you wish for, or the chickens always come home to roost. Liesl was only trying to protect her own, yet her storming around town might have accidentally smoothed the road for Cullum. At the same time, I have a quiet respect for her strength. She didn't back down, even when she was warning Nina about her daughter being like a snake in the grass. That kind of no-nonsense spirit is something special. My wife and I were talking about it just last night, how these stories on General Hospital hit so close to home sometimes with all the love, betrayal, and second chances. It makes you appreciate the folks you've got in your own life. I'm sitting here, coffee in hand, wondering what Liesl's going to do next to fight her way out of this. Something tells me that tough lady still has plenty of fight left in her, and when she does strike back, it's going to shake things up big time for everyone involved. What a wild emotional ride this has been. I can't wait to see how it all plays out, but my heart sure goes out to Liesl and the mess she's caught in.